be right up here.
Good old sunflowers.
Beautiful.
We're here at an ancient Indian mound, small Indian shell midden or kitchen midden.
Very interesting area. Way out here in the woods. You can see the mound right here. The formation there.
What's interesting, there are some things around.
Some limestone.
There's a limestone rock here. It looks like it was used to work tools, sharpen arrowheads and spears.
Look at the marks here. It's really interesting.
And just below it here is a whelk type of shellfish.
Take a look at this here. Petrified shell.
Yeah, the calcium carbonate of the shell and the calcium carbonate of the limestone especially, basically what they use to make concrete, or used to make concrete with, so it hardens.
So here's the base of the mound. Had to be a lot bigger at one time.
There's looks like there's some vandal pits on the top of the mound from maybe a long time ago. See the holes there? Looks like someone dug.
Did you see some pottery fragments?
Yeah, there's some down here. Somewhere down here you could see, oh, there they are.
Right here, it's pottery fragments on the surface of the mound.
Yeah, it looks to be limestone grit tempered pottery or potsherds here. You can see the small limestone grit.
Yep.
It's very coarse, like concrete. You can also see discarded aquatic snail here, freshwater snail. You can just imagine that this area is part of the Withlacooche Cove. I think it's the Safety Harbor culture, the same culture that was the culture that the Tocobaga Indians had that lived in Pinellas Point and around Tampa Bay and Port Charlotte, I believe.
Interesting.
I think they call it the Safety Harbor culture because of the kind of pottery that they find. But Safety Harbor Mound is a giant mound. I think it's a park now. It could have been the headquarters of the Tocobaga Indians, and there's a little interesting history associated with those middens there. There was a Catholic priest or monk by the name, I think his name was Luis Cancer de Barbrasto, and he was warned by Spain not to visit the Indians of Central Florida, but go further north because the Spaniards had conflict with the Indians there, and he didn't listen, and he came into contact with the Tocobaga Indians there in that area, probably the Safety Harbor Mound or one of the middens in the area.
Interesting.
And he was clubbed to death on top of the mound.
Oh, wow.
But
That's pretty traumatic.
But that would have been the Sathe Harbor Culture Indians, which at that place was the Tocobaga. Yeah, I forgot to mention right by the this stone here, it looks like they used as a workstation. There's a piece of chert there. And the chert is very flaky and hard, and it sharpens very well. This is limestone here, and this is chert here. But generally limestone and chert form together.
So that could be used against this stone here.
Well, I'm not sure if that piece, but yeah, but chert is what they would, it's sharper. It's more workable than limestone.
Yeah, you could sharpen it on this limestone, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You could sharpen that on here.
Or you could chip by breaking it with a tool to chip away at the chert, make it a spearhead or arrowhead.
Yeah, that's really neat to see that out here.
But it does look like it was used, that stone here.
It's got a different color to it.
There's no way of telling. It could have had something to do with the guy who, if someone had a cabin here also.
Yeah. Well, that stone's been here a long time.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to carry that out of the woods, so obviously it's part of the environment.
Let's go over here. I want to show you guys the creek. It's dry out here right now. It's mucky in here. But as you get close to this creek area, it gets really overgrown. It may be hard to see the creek. Watch your footing. So you can see how overgrown it is and dense. And then the water starts here.
It's probably where they gather the shellfish. Looks to be nothing but a hog trail now.
Yeah, back then too, think of how they lived back then in this area and survived.
Yeah, the mosquitoes must have been horrendous. I do know that they would burn green firewood inside their huts, and they used the smoke to ward off mosquitoes.
Interesting.
But you can imagine that some people would turn up with lung diseases from inhaling smoke all the time.
Yeah. And back then, this area probably would have looked the same or similar, maybe. Just depends, but it gets wet out here. This time of year, we haven't got into the rainy season just yet, but this area floods out. And the mound sits above the floodplain here.
Yeah, it just amazes me that people could survive in here without any modern medicine or technology.
So, if we had ventured further into the woods here, who knows what else could be out here. But it's such an amazing area.
You can see the line on the trees.
Oh yeah, the water line.
Yeah.
Yeah, right here. So, right now the water would be up to my waist.